Apple Music should be up. And I'm going to play stage 5, which is cave music, Churn and Burn. I'm musically depicting a dark cave, and it's a moment of contemplation. Suddenly, toward the end, there's an epiphany. There's still more to be done, and the piece ends with a vision of ascent yet to be made. So I would recommend, since there's nothing to see here except a screen of my thing playing, close your eyes maybe and imagine. Put yourself in the place of the cave and listen to the music as it occurs. Here we go. And then we have to leave the cave. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Let's hear it for Dr. Robert Gross and that incredible music to the Hope Cycle, which is this teaching that we've literally been in for like 21 weeks. Like 21 weeks we have been living this Hope Cycle teaching. And Rob is going to tell you more about that music that he created in a week's time, 30 minutes of music in 1 week. So welcome, everyone. I actually don't want to say too much right now. Let us stay in this experience. And if you have a candle, please light it. I'm going to light the candle on my end, and we're just going to fall right into prayer. Okay. Okay. And so the candle is lit, and we are more fully arriving now into this time and this space. And as I like to say, I will pray in the way that I pray, knowing that you may pray very differently. And that is okay, because it is all good here at the Revolution of Love. And let us take the breaths in, breathing in together now. We will take 3 of these. The first one, breathing in through the nostrils. And when you're ready, a good exhale out. Good. And now again, breathing in through the nose. And cleansing outwards, exhaling. And really make this one count, everybody. So when you breathe in through the nose, on that exhale, if you want, you can make an exhale. You can make a sound on that exhale. So breathe in. And breathing out. Nobody can hear you, so it's okay. Okay, good. And so, Holy One, Great Spirit and mystery of all things, we come before you steadfast, and we come before you recognizing that there has been so much that has happened just in a week's time since we last convened together. And so for those that have weary hearts or weary minds, a blessing upon those folks in this space, or maybe our absent companions, or maybe even the folks that we don't know, but we, yes, are connected to. God, help us to stand up right and to keep our feet on the ground, and to remember that hope is a very good thing. And that it is something not to be trifled with, not to be forgotten, but in fact, it is something to hold into our hearts very dear, into our souls. Allow us to sink deeply into this place of hope, which also includes a love that knows no bounds. We know that that love comes from you, through us, with us, into us, join us. And so we move forward now. We lift up the spirits, the souls, the names of the folks that were taken mercilessly, that were murdered in violence from hate in Atlanta. We hold them dear to our hearts, knowing them. Without maybe knowing them, we know them, God. And we connect in this moment in our bodies to them, recognizing the cord that keeps us all together in this thing, this journey called life. Oh yes, a prayer of blessing upon the people that are here. May there be healing tonight. May there be reframing. May there be new thoughts and new visions, and the remembrance of the world that we can create. That is full of effortless life and liberation and vitality. Yes, these dreams that we dream, that we get to dream here, we give thanks for them, and we know that you are moving, that your grace is moving upon us. And so we just toss this prayer up to the heavens with a smiling face and a song of praise on our lips. And we just say, and so it is, even now. Amen. And Taylor X, if you would please offer our land acknowledgement, the path acknowledgement, and whatever else you want. Please feel free.
Hello, everybody. Taylor X here. Him, his, and he are my pronouns. Let's see, let's do the land acknowledgement. At this time, we want to take a moment to reflect on the lands on which we reside. We are coming from many places, and we acknowledge the ancestral homelands and traditional territories of Indigenous people who have been here since time immemorial, and to recognize that they're still here, fighting for human rights, for lands, and their culture. It is important to not only honor the legacy of the lives of the original caretakers of this land, but continue to build our solidarity with Native peoples across the Americas and across the globe. I am in beautiful North Hollywood, and I'd like to acknowledge and honor the land of the Chumash, the Tongva, the Fernandino, and Tataviam. Now, please take a moment to acknowledge the Indigenous people of the lands where you're located in the chat. Thank you. And not that we're going to wait too long, we also like to do a path acknowledgement. We honor at the Revolution of Love all religions, philosophies, ideologies, belief systems, healing modalities, and spiritual perspectives. We honor life experience and wisdom you have brought here today. We respect you and we welcome you into this brave space. And we emphatically state that disrespect, prejudice, discrimination of any kind has no place here. We empower one another through respect and strength to be true revolutionaries of love and justice. Remember, we see you, we hear you, we love you. If you have a path, faith, tradition, belief system, please share it in the chat so we can get to know you better. Thanks. And for the memes, I'd like to thank everyone for sharing their memes for the service. We are growing with lovely people from all across the country. Again, feel free to copy the memes and share them at will. Thanks. It's Taylor X.
Taylor X, over and out. Thank you. Let's hear for Taylor X, everybody. Yes. And thank you for those memes. And of course, for grounding us in our land and path acknowledgement. I was looking at the captions, notice that there is closed captions there for folks if you need it. Unfortunately, it said the Frank faith, instead of faith tradition, it said the Frank tradition. That's interesting, the Frank tradition. But then again, we are frank here, aren't we? We're a little frank, we're a little raw, we're a little brave, we're a little all-encompassing, yes? So anyway, thank you so much for that. Welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in, we are live on Facebook. I love live. I love live. It's so fun. There's just such a nice electricity to it. So if you're watching on Facebook, hello, we see you, we hear you, we love you too. And we are recording this, so you can watch this on YouTube at your leisure or your whim, you know, whatever you want to do. So I'm Reverend Felicia Perez-Zader. My pronouns are she, her, hers, they, them, theirs. And I am in Henderson, Nevada. So I'm acknowledging the Southern Paiute and the Chemehuevi. And my word for you this evening is something that came out unexpectedly, celebration, when we had our pray up with the team, celebration. Which, interesting. So again, welcome. I'll get on this. I'm just arriving, everyone. This has been a sobering week. All kidding aside right now, this has been yet another week where we have seen hatred and violence and white supremacy in action. And we are going to be reading the names. Someone on the team is going to be reading the names of the 8 people that were killed during our prayer time. So if you want to get a candle, you can at any point get a candle between now and then. So we can do that and read those names. We're going to continue to dismantle any form of hatred or violence. That's part of why we have these services, everybody, is because we are committed to healing. And we're committed to raising our awareness and raising our consciousness. And there is something that can truly happen at these services, and it's not to be missed. And that is through our healing, we in fact can raise our awareness. There's a lot more that needs to happen. We have to educate. We have to do anti-racism work. We have to do anti-oppression work. We have to do a lot of other things. But first things first is that when we come here and we are present, things can happen. It's all about connection, my friends. It's all about connection. And we are in stage 7 of love of this hope cycle. And so the word connection is also going to be amplified this evening. So let us be present and continue to commit to this work of justice and exalted love. I welcome you to this space and thank you for joining us. You, whatever your faith tradition is, or if you don't even have one at all, you are absolutely welcome here. All of your identities, all of everything you are, every bit of you. If you're committed to hatred and violence, yeah, it's probably not a space that you want to be in. But if you're committed to change making, then it is. So we are so ecstatic to be together. With that, we are going to have our Revolution of Love blessing, which you already heard Taylor X say, actually. It's very simple. It's we see you, we hear you, we love you. And we're going to do it like we did last week, which is we're going to say it 3 times instead of just the 1 time how we used to. Just keep saying it. We see you, we hear you, we love you. 3 times. Come off mute. It's going to be a cacophony of sounds and noises and maybe laughters, and that's fine. So everybody ready? Okay, come off mute. And here we go. We see you.
We hear you.
We
We love
love
you.
you.
We love you.
We love you. We see you.
See
Hear
you.
you.
We hear you.
Hear you. We
We
love
love
you.
you.
See you.
We hear
We
you.
hear you.
We see you.
And
See you.
Hear
hear
you.
We see you.
We
We
love
hear
you.
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 We love you.
Love you.
We love you.
Yay.
I love the laughter and the giggling. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So enjoy your time, please. You'll get as much out of this as you put into it. And let's move now to the mission statement. And the mission statement will be read by Melanie, and the vision statement will be read by Trevor. And Melanie, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, here. Sorry. Okay. The Revolution of Love Ministry and Movement mission statement. The Revolution of Love Ministry and Movement is an inclusive, diverse global ministry and movement focusing on the inner work of self and the outer work of service through the teachings of nonviolence, spiritual psychology, and philosophy.
Okay. Revolution of Love Ministry and Movement Vision Statement. The Revolution of Love is a global ministry and movement of spiritual renewal and outreach dedicated to healing, transformation, and love. We embrace people where they are at religiously, spiritually, and welcome those who may be agnostic or atheist. At the Revolution of Love, we commit to our highest good. We transform through a heart and mind opening experience and we claim our divine responsibility and honor to be change agents in the world. We do not enable, co-sign, or align with any system, structure, or policy of hatred, oppression, or violence. We do stand for positive peace. We work for transformative justice. We bring absolute compassion and radical love, and we believe in God with all its names. We are the visionaries and the dreamers, architects of peace, strategists creating a new world of what ought to be today. No matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from, who you love, we welcome you, we love you. The time is now. This is the revolution.
What time is it? Does anybody
Now.
really know what time it is? Trevor, you're like, now, it's now. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Trevor. Thank you for that, Melanie. And Manny, how about those wonderful announcements?
Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name is Manny. I am located in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am a support and services minister here at the Revolution of Love. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I've got some announcements for you. You may have heard them before, and if you haven't, it's always good to refresh. So get those ready for you in just a moment. Okay, so we're ready to go. So there'll be a variety of links that you'll have access to in the chat, so be on the lookout for that afterward. Our Linktree is available for a one-stop shop to be informed of all the latest happenings here at the Revolution of Love. It's there that you can find Rev Felicia's midweek boost and service invitation that you can sign up for. Connect with our Revolution of Love Facebook group and learn of ways to be of service and get into action. If you didn't already know, Roll does have merch. T-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeves are available now when you visit our Linktree and click on our campaign Wear It to Believe It, where our activism and the Roll vision on your sleeve and close to your heart. We also have a new logo. Okay. In addition to Sunday night services, Rev Felicia will be on Zoom with the Holy Spirit Retreat Center leading discussions and teaching on topics such as forgiveness and anger from a spiritual and justice-based lens. These are the first and the third Tuesday of the month from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific. You can go to our Linktree and register for them in advance. So, how is the Revolution of Love a movement? By inviting you and I into action. In 2021, we will continue to present you with different events and actions that you can take part in, even during a pandemic. For folks that may not be able to get out into the streets, you can do something as well. Firstly, you can educate yourself by checking out our abolition resources link on our Linktree. Remember, Revolution of Love is a visionary ministry and movement committed to justice. Between services, we educate ourselves on what may seem idealistic or utopian that we bend the arc towards justice. That said, please go to blacklivesmatter.com on the chapter near your city. White identified folks also look up a local chapter of SURGE, which stands for Showing Up for Racial Justice. There's a .org site that you can access. SURGE is consistently putting out events, calls to action, and webinars. Please check out the work of CLUE, C-L-U-E, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice at cluejustice.org. ROLL is continuing to work with organizations mobilizing for justice. Lastly, Linktree provides resources to all of the latest happenings to be informed about, be it immigration rights, economic justice, racial justice, and any other issue impacting people's lives and the planet. Check it out, stay plugged in, and engage. Do you value and enjoy what you're receiving here at ROLL? A healthy church means a healthy reciprocity flow. Time, energy, and currency all go into these services, so your donations and contributions keep the revolution going. Go to our Linktree and donate through Venmo, or PayPal. If you cannot contribute that way, please spread the word. One way is through social media. We are live on Facebook. We're a Facebook fan. So those of you there, please share your services, or please share this service to your pages and participate that way. Also, it's always awesome, right? Invite people to service via social networks. Please get the word out. Or do you feel like serving? Actually, I mean, you can message me, Rev. If you want to help in some way, it's another one. We value you as a person. We value everyone. Additionally, subscribe to Revolution of Love's Ministry and Movement. If you're on the YouTube channel there, Rev Felicia also has her personal channel that we upload to, be more frequent with uploads in the future here. Everyone can give and participate in some way. That said, thank you again for being here tonight, for listening to me speak, and enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll catch you next time. Take care.
Thank you, Manny. It was a little bit challenging for some reason, but we stuck with you, Manny, didn't we, everybody? We were listening. We were on the edge. We're on the edge, is what we are. We're on the edge of our seat. But thank you. Okay. Okay. So we're just moving right along tonight, aren't we? Just moving right along. That does it for announcements. We don't have another speaker this evening, so I get to introduce you more formally now to Dr. Robert Gross, who has been participating at the Revolution of Love. Gosh, Rob, for what, a good year? Yes, probably
About,
about a year. Yeah.
Since the pandemic started, yeah.
Yeah, so we always love having Rob with us, and let me tell you a little bit more about him, and then he'll probably flush out a little bit more about what he worked on with this composition for the Hope Cycle teaching. So Dr. Robert Gross is a board certified music therapist. I love that, a music therapist in the Indianapolis area, and holds a doctorate in music composition. He's prolific. We have to know this about Rob. He is prolific, always composing, from the University of Southern California. His music can be found at www.robertgrosscomposer.com. I hope that's right. That's right. Okay.
That's right.
And he lives in Anderson, Indiana, with his wife and his 13-year-old son, who I
14
think
now.
14. Yes, that's what I was just going to say. He
Mhm.
just had a birthday. So
Yep, that's right.
yeah, happy
14.
birthday, Sam.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
yeah, Rob, take it away.
Sure. So the Hope Cycle was just really inspirational for me. I really believe in it in all my heart. It makes so much sense to me. And so we are endeavoring, by the way, to record these pieces properly. You may have noticed that it's a little bit synthesizer-y right now. We're going to record it with real musicians. We're going to find a way to do it, and sometime within the next year, hire some musicians. So you'll be hearing about it, and we're going to hopefully maybe put together a video with the teaching and the music and maybe some visual elements as well. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, creatively. The next movement we're going to play is, we're going to skip over to movement 7, the last movement, which is love. This is the stage where we've reached the summit of our journey, and we experience the love of God or higher power or whatever your name for it is. And we take in the profundity of love, of this kind of profound love. So let me share my screen and share my sound and get back to Apple Music. And here's stage 7. Okay, that's that.
I love how you say that, Rob. That's that. His incredible composition of music. Okay, and I got my mail.
Well, that's all there is.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Rev. Over to you.
Thank you so very much. And let us, everybody, let's give some thanks, some gratitude to Rob for that blessing. Truly, truly. And now let us take a breath in together. We breathe in. And we breathe out. And again, we're going to do this again, and remembering to connect now. Connect with yourself. Breathe in. Breathing out. If there is a higher power or a Godhead that you believe in, or if that is love, then now you connect to that and you breathe in. Let us breathe in. And breathing out. And once more, on this breath, we remember each other in this community and all the communities that may not be here right now, but we recognize our connection with them. And we breathe in. And breathing out. And it is surely in this holy place where we reside in connection that we remember what is good and what is important and what matters in our lives. We reconnect into our souls this night, yes? We reconnect to a Godhead or a higher power or a love, an exalted love right now, tonight. We reconnect to one another. And we recognize that there is a cord that is forever connecting us. And so where there is life, we feel it swell up within us. Where there is death, we do feel it diminish us because we are that connected. We are that connected. In fact, it is when we forget, when we lose connection, when we disconnect. We become afraid and we lose hope and we become full of doubt and worry, despair. Our minds become muddied and muddled. We become porous, don't we? In this disconnected place, we become porous and that much more available to violence and hatred. We say no more tonight. We say no more. If our lives depend on it, and they do, we strive for connection of a highest order tonight. We will not shirk on this, will we? We cannot afford to equivocate on connection. Everything about this life, everything about this journey is about connection. The love that we have been talking about and pulling apart and dissecting and reframing in these last few weeks is about connection. There are the values that I have shared about reciprocity in this love, in this exalted love, not a romantic love. Let's be clear, this exalted highest love. Some of the values that I have mentioned are reciprocity, accountability, advocacy, boundaries, maybe not so unconditional after all, truth, justice. This love is so expansive. And you can't have it. You can't really feel it in your bones and in your soul unless you're connected. Unless you are in that holy place of connection. I used to teach music. I used to teach piano to children and adults for a time in another life, so to speak. And it was interesting because you can teach people, you can teach piano, you can teach them to play a piece a certain way. They can learn the dynamics in a piece of music. They can learn to rush a little bit or rallentando and to slow it down. But you can't really teach feeling. You can't really teach someone how to feel it, how to feel the music and to relay that soul story. So it is with love, this highest love. of the Hope Cycle, stage 7 teaching. Yeah, we can study love. We can point to scripture or any sacred text, and we can theorize on it. We could read books about it and have a book study about it. We can intellectualize it all till the cows come home, as the saying goes. But if this highest love, if we are not receptive to seeing, just seeing what it wants to do to us, with us, to not receptive enough to allow it to take us somewhere, to have its way with us, that we may heal, not just as individuals, but as a society, as a culture, as a world, as a planet, then I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know if we are not going to be that available and that free with it and that brave and courageous, then I don't know what we're doing here. We are spiritually ready and ripe for it. We are. And pretty much everybody that I'm seeing, we're at 20 participants right now, and who knows on the Facebook, but you all have been on your journeys long before you came to roll. And so what can we do to increase our spiritual readiness and being that ripe and that unabashed about this love? I hope you can feel this. On a Zoom, it's very hard to feel in this way, but my guess is some of you can. There are things in this life, and feel this, please, that you cannot ascribe theory to. Things in this life that are beyond thoughts and words. God, that's a good place. It's a very good place. And it is places of connection when you're having maybe a conversation about something maybe very simple, maybe very silly, or maybe very sublime, where you feel that connection with someone. Maybe it was when we were just listening to Dr. Robert Gross's music. See, that's what music is so incredible. It brings us, right into our heart. It bypasses, it surpasses often the mind, and we can certainly have fun with our minds in music too. But there is a connection that music can bring in a way that is almost unlike anything else, isn't it? Ministry, this is about connecting. We're trying here. We're trying to connect anyway, damn it. any way we can, even with the pandemic, we won't be stopped as people, as spiritual beings. We will continue to bring ministry, to create ministry in creative ways so that we can connect. Movement building is all about creation and connection. Dance is about connecting with the body. Heck, religion, the word itself, religare, coming from the Latin religare, to bind together. See, all of these different things, all of this is connection. And as I prepared for you all and sat with stage 7 of this hope cycle, recognizing that we are almost out of time, that we are really going up the mountain, making this ascension, and we have one more week, and that's next week, and then we'll be complete, like it or not, lickety split. I got down to some bare bones thinking about this love and recognizing that the things that often block us, the fears, the doubts, the traumas, valid pains, the all the hiccups and all of the, I want to say seizures for some reason, seizures in life. It makes it so hard, doesn't it, to really be connected, to be connected with something greater than yourself, to being connected to yourself, if one even knows what that is, and then to remember to connect with each other at all costs. When we lose this connection, we live in the shadows. We hide ourselves. I don't know where you're at right now if you are feeling disconnected in one of the ways that I mentioned. But think about perhaps how your body feels when or if that is happening. If there's a sort of maybe a fear in your chest, a tightness in your chest, or maybe it's more like almost like an electricity going through your body, or maybe it's a numbness, maybe it's a frozenness. I don't know how it may come upon you, but we really have to work to connect. We must. Connection affords us power. And power is a loaded word, I know. I mean a healthy power. Sit up if you're not already really sitting up. Connection affords us to take our seat in the world and to really be in a healthy, right-sized, not inflated, but a right-sized power, and holding one's truth and being a force for change and for good. In this place of connection, there is a healing that begins to happen. There is a healing that you become more ready for, available to. I'm sorry, I went off script again. I did it again. But it needed to be. Because it's that serious. If we really lived in this place of connection, again, let me reiterate so it's completely clear, in a place where you really feel connected to who you are. I often say, remember who you are. I've been saying it for years. When you feel really connected to yourself, simply, and connected to people, recognizing, even if, even if those people, on a higher level, I will say it like that, on a higher level, we are all connected. And then also that it's a tripartite, that third aspect of being connected to a Godhead or highest love or a higher self, however you frame it, however you call it, that let's be open here, right? The sky truly is the limit, because the fear, it falls away. The defendedness, it falls away. the shadow living, like I said, the hiding. There's no need for it. And it's not that you're exposed in a way that is going to even make you vulnerable. See, that's the lie. We think that if we really live in a place of exalted love, that we're going to be so exposed and vulnerable and we're going to get hurt all over again. See, that's why we have been going through the redefinition of a higher love, of a highest love. Because we had to push back. Do you see now? We had to push back on these stereotypes about love. Because often, yes, what we have been taught about love is that we should sort of bleed out and just be these compassion vats. Well, yeah, that is scary. And you know what? That's not healthy. So that's why we had to push back on the love that we have internalized, that we've been socialized to believe in, and realize that no. This love that we speak of at the Revolution of Love is powerful. It's not passive. It is full of vibrancy and a resiliency and a power, as I just said, that includes justice, that includes value, that includes reciprocity. I'm repeating myself. I realize advocacy, accountability, all of these things that sometimes we don't always associate with love. And it includes, let's say it like this, wisdom. This love includes your wisdom. It includes your knowing. Remember the knowing stage? That was the stage prior to this of believe. See, if you're tapped into your knowing, my friends, if you're tapped into it, there's nothing to fear, because you will know who is ready for your love. You will know how to move in the world with this love. You will have that sagaciousness. You will have that ability to use both head and heart and know where to move and groove in your life in order to not only create change for you, but for this world. This is not just about our healing and our own individual healing. This is a call to create change and healing in this world. So we must connect. We must take this very seriously. The things that disconnect us: violence and hatred, white supremacy culture, xenophobia, any of the isms, any of the phobias, those things disconnect us. The witness of those things, it's impacted every single one of us, even if we're not in a marginalized community. It impacts us, and it starts to chip away and begin to disconnect us. Another thing that disconnects us outside of that socialization, a society and a culture of violence that I just mentioned, is the dis-ease of the mind. And we see this through addiction or addictive behaviors. And all of us have them. I'm not talking about necessarily drugs and alcohol. I'm talking about the monkey mind. And I'm talking about behaviors that create or cause you to live in the shadows and begin to hide out in your life and get you afraid. See, that is that dis-ease of the mind. It disconnects us. Let's go one level deeper. So we had society and culture, and a violent society and culture. And then we had this dis-ease of the mind that disconnects as well. And number 3, you know, I do things in 3s, is trauma, the trauma. Now, we could talk about collective trauma here. We could talk about in your youngest years, in your youngest years. Now let's go conversely now, flipping these things. So how do we create the connections? We continue to educate ourselves, especially for that first disconnect that I mentioned, society and culture of violence. We must educate ourselves. We must take this very seriously, continue to educate. But for the second and third, and I don't mean to skip through that too quickly. Just we have to do the work. That's something that needs to happen outside of Sunday service. Yes, yes, it does. For those second and third aspects of disconnection, that's of the disease of the mind and the traumas of our youngest selves. We can do another 3 things. I'm going to lay them out, and then we're going to be out of here. We're going to, because I don't want to do too much. The first thing that I thought of, and this is so important, everybody, for connection, to really come back to a steadfast connection, is to be honest. And I've said it in other stages of this hope cycle, but this is, please hear me when I say this, we must be honest. The people that don't make it, the people that don't recover, the people that don't heal, they either can't or will not be honest. Be honest about who you are right now. I asked you last week, I said, if you had 1 week to live, what would you do differently? I didn't mean I would buy donuts or I'd have a hot dog and then I go to the Bahamas or Cabo San Lucas. I didn't mean that. I meant if the things that block you now from connection, if you had 1 week to live, would they still? Or would you look at yourself in a different way? Would you get honest about the ways that you move and groove in the world, about the ways that you think about yourself, about other people? Would the anger, would the doubt, would the worry, would the despair, would it maybe not have as much of a hold on you? And it's not to negate anything. I never would want to negate anyone's valid feelings and emotions and life experience. But if we had 1 week, be honest, what would be different? What would be different? In order to restore connection, so we can have this highest love, a bountiful supply of highest love, we first off must be honest about who we are. We have to really look at ourselves. And that is hard. But we're here. We're alive. And not everybody has that gift. Not the 8 people that got up on Tuesday. 7 women and 1 man. Asian women, 6 Asian women, pardon me. They don't have that gift. So we do. So we really reconcile tonight and say, I'm going to be honest. And you know what? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to gift the other things, the other 2. That's enough. Because honesty is it's a very challenging place to live. But you know what comes, my friends? And let's do this. Let's go up the mountain right now. Let's finish this out. When we live in this place of honesty, that means it includes truth, and it includes soul, and it includes an all-encompassing, like I said, a power. And there is nothing like living from that place all the time. And we may get weary, we may get fatigued, even still, living from that place, plugging in, connecting every day. Still get tired, still have bad days. And it's different because, see, we see where we need to go. We see what we need to create. And we have that prophetic vision, and we do it together. We do it together. This is our call, every single one of us. We are here to heal and create change. This is the revolution of love. And we are here with this gift of life, with hearts beating and souls stirring. And I am grateful that we got to convene tonight. Bless you, my friends. Bless you. We are going to, let's take a pause, actually. Let's take a pause and take a breath. Breathing in and allowing whatever needs to be moved or stirred in you to do just that. Or whatever needs to land and resonate to do just that. Very simple. No frills, no thrills, just allowance. Yes. Ashe. Amen. Amen. We are going to move now into the prayer time. But first, if you do have a candle, I'm going to invite you to light a candle. Trevor White will be reading the names of the 8 victims, and they were not just victims, they're people, 8 people from the Atlanta shooting. And I would like us all to be emphatically present and really take in these names and connect with each person as their name is read. And Trevor, whenever you are ready, I'm just going to light the candle, another candle. And whenever you are ready, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rev. So I'm going to read the names, and after I read each name, y'all are welcome to say the name out loud. Soon Chong Park, age 74. Hyun Chong Grant, age 51. Soon Cha Kim, 69 years old. Yong E Yu, 63 years old. Xiao Jie Tan, age 49. Dao Yo Fong, age 54. Delina Ashley Yuan, 33 years old. And Paul Andre Mikkels, age 54.
Thank you so much, Trevor. So if we can just hold the space now for a moment. And Manny, I believe, was going to put the names in the chat too. And so we continue to hold this prayerful moment. And we say, God above, we know that you are listening to our cries. And we know that you are with those that were just taken from us. And so please, a blessing upon the families that remain, upon the friends and the loved ones. Let them know that they are not alone and that they are loved and that they are cared for infinitely, that we pray for them, even though we do not know them personally, that we know them in the spirit. And so we stand now alongside of the Asian community, and we stand alongside communities that are under threat and attack. And God, you know that you fortify us. You keep us steady. You keep us moving. Keep our sights on you if we despair, and remember that we have to stay in the fight and in the struggle for freedom and for justice and for love. Lifting up this prayer along with prayers for the Doe family, as Fred has just transitioned in the last month. And so we lift up this family that is trying to find their way and making their way. Fill their hearts with peace, and where there is despair, may there be hope. Lift up a prayer now on behalf of Carolyn for Ted. Ted, who is making his transition, who is imminent. And so may the family and friends, including our dear Carolyn, may they be forever nourished, especially now. And may the blessing of Ted's life and the journey that he has taken continue to anoint them and continue to move them. All the learning and all the gifts that Ted has given, and we know that he will continue to. May it be given now tenfold. And lifting up also a prayer on behalf of Mylene, prayer for the unhoused. So for all the folks that are experiencing homelessness, we do not ever lose sight of them. And we see them, and we will do whatever it takes to create safety and to create an effervescent housing a situation and peace for them. We will work. We will work. God, set our feet right on this as well. Set our feet straight. Keep our focus upon you as well in this matter. And I turn my attention to the chat to see if there are prayer requests here. And there are no prayer requests just yet, so I will hold. I will hold. If anybody has a prayer, please do fill it in, and we can just wait a moment. And recognizing that we are all healing, God. And so we ask for just continued radical shifts in our minds, as well as our hearts, as well as our souls. And if there is physical healing needed for people here right now in this ceremony, or outside of the ceremony, we know that you are working. We affirm it. We know it. We know that you are doing the work, be it through doctors or nurses. Your hands are forever moving in ways that are maybe mysterious to us and maybe kind of confusing or conflicting to us, but healing always does happen. Yes, it does. Amen. And let's prayers for Kimberly. Yes, for our beloved Kimberly and her housing uncertainty. So we lift up Kimberly right now, everybody, please. Knowing that things will continue to work out for her highest good. Let us affirm this for her. And on behalf of Rob, a prayer request for Ryan for spiritual healing. Yes. And so we lift up Ryan, that spiritual healing, that it is happening again. It is happening now. And on behalf of Melanie, may we all remember that we are loved. And also a prayer for Kayla, that she remember who she is, that she continues to connect and come back to who she is. Yes. And on behalf of David and Margaret, also a prayer for Amanda, Kimberly's daughter, for her physical and emotional healing. And so, yes, we lift up Amanda as well, and her physical body and her emotional healing, and any other healing that may need to happen for Amanda. Yes, restoration for her in remembrance. And on behalf of Manny, a prayer for all of us as we choose to inch closer to honesty with ourselves so that we may truly know love. Ashe. Yes. And on behalf of Betsy, a prayer that we find our way to help, that we are guided and shown by our higher power. Yes. Yes. And let's see, from Evie, I want to make sure that this is okay that I say this because it was directly to me. So let's see, prayers. We prayed for Evie last week, and so we are giving thanks. Her daughter has shingles during her pregnancy. Okay, and so we have to continue to lift up Evie's daughter. But the report from her high-risk doctors was that she's past contagion and had this during her safest period of her pregnancy. Okay, so we give thanks. We give thanks and we continue, Evie, to hold your daughter and you in prayer. Absolutely, absolutely. And on behalf of Felicia, we lift up all the prayer warriors working on these requests. Yes, and so with that, let us close up this time, lifting all of you up, lifting all of us up. God, we know that you see us, and we know that you love us, and we know that you hear us. And so we know that you've heard these prayers, and that they are, that it is all unfolding according to your holy plan. We may not always understand. There may be confusion, but we trust. We trust. Give us a good week. Allow us to work for justice. Allow us to rest when necessary. And help us be really honest. Help us be really honest and remember to consistently connect, God. If we forget, we will try harder to remember you and to center you. And we will not forget each other. No, we won't. We will not forget the importance and the value that each of us have to one another. And so it is. Amen. Amin. Ashe. Aho. And Rob, would you please offer some more music for us?
Sure, Rev. If it's okay with you, Rev, I'd like to go all the way back to the very beginning and play the first movement, because on the heels of what we've just experienced and have been listening to, I think it's the most appropriate movement because it's the most contemplative of the movements. And this was all the way back to the beginning in the desert, where we first encounter our first glimmer of hope, which is what the movement is called, hope. So let me share my screen. Here we go. We're in the desert. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Let's thank Rob once again. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so delighted, and can't wait till that project continues, Rob. We're gonna have so much more fun with it. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. I think that Rob's music just makes the Hope Cycle come alive all the more, doesn't it? Yes. So let us be contemplative as we move through the week. Continue to be honest. Yes. And let's continue to create change in the world that we need to, that we must do. If you would like to come off mute and say your goodbyes, we will head on out and we will get to see you next week. Take care, everybody. Take good care of yourselves.
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, Betty.
Bye-bye. Bye, Taylor.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Bye,
everyone.
Taylor. Bye, Manny. Bye, Rev. Bye, everybody.
Rev.